pop the popcorn, put on your comfiest pajamas, and grab a drink because it's time for a new episode of Sierra Unfiltered. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sierra Unfiltered.
Hey, friends.
I love that we have the podcast now because I feel like whenever we're having a good conversation, we'll be like, oh, we should do that as a podcast.
Totally.
Which is totally how today's podcast came to be. Skylar and I recently found out our Enneagram numbers. Was it recent for you?
I've known mine for at least a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I found mine out maybe a month ago. And, like, it was just, like, a fun little thing. I was like, oh, I'll sit down. I was with my cousin and my aunt, and I'm like, we'll take it together. And then I literally, like, left. Because I was, like, so mind blown.
Like, left the place that you were at with your cousin and aunt?
And my aunt.
Or, like, left, like, emotionally?
No, like physically got, like, after, like, maybe 45 minutes later, I was, like, still thinking about my Enneagram type. I was like, I think I need to go home.
Oh.
Like, I've taken a lot of personality tests because I love that kind of stuff.
Totally.
But
Me too.
For whatever reason, my Enneagram type, when I was reading the description, like, cut me to the core.
I think it's because it also says, like, the negative traits that you carry.
And, like, what you should work on.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh my gosh, too real.
Because I think it's really easy to be like, oh, wow, I'm so kind. I take care of people. Or for you, like, I'm such a leader. I'm such a change maker. But when it's like, yeah, you really don't take care of yourself. And, like, when you don't take care of yourself, you spiral. You're like, oh crap.
Maybe I should work on that.
I feel like it makes you feel very seen.
Yeah. And then more recently, we were hanging out with two other YouTubers, Remy and Alicia, who also have a podcast, and we were talking about our Enneagram numbers because you and Remy have the same one, and me and Alicia have the same one, and they sent us this, like, podcast and this album of this guy who wrote songs for every Enneagram type, and then I listened to mine and I cried.
Yeah. Me too.
So, for this episode, we thought it would be fun to... Prior to this episode, we took 3 personality tests. The Enneagram test, which we had already done, the Myers-Briggs test, and the color code test. And we have our answers, and we're going to kind of, like, talk about them, deconstruct them, like, delve deep into ourselves and each other.
Which is so exciting.
So exciting. But before we do that,
what you drinking? Jinx, you owe me a cranberry juice?
I was going to say White Claw because, you know... You're not supposed to drink when you're pregnant, but if you didn't know, there ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding. Please don't drink White Claws when you're pregnant.
This has gone too far.
I'm drinking a White Claw.
This is too much. Just to clarify, I absolutely have not drank, and I haven't even drank since we were trying to conceive.
No, you haven't. But if you wanted to, there would be no laws if you were drinking claws.
My gosh.
Recently, the Portland, Oregon police department tweeted out, like, contrary to popular internet belief, there is in fact laws that apply when you are drinking claws.
Oh my gosh. This revolution has gone too far.
What are you drinking, though?
I'm drinking cranberry juice, per usual.
I know.
And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a White Claw.
Wow, so shocked.
The amount of White Claw memes in my DMs has, like, really gotten to a point. But don't stop. Like, keep sending me White Claw memes.
See, I have never tasted a White Claw. Because when that phase started to happen, we were, like, trying to conceive. Yeah. And also, I'm not, like, a big seltzer person. Like, I wasn't a big Truly person.
And so Trulies and White Claws are, like, the same.
Well, and if there was overlap, like,
No.
I wasn't super excited about it, and I feel like you've gotten into it in the last couple months.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Honestly, the taste of White Claws and Trulies are the same. Like, if they're both there, I have no preference.
It's the culture.
It's the culture. I love White Claw culture. Like, someone, in a vlog I had mentioned that, like, if I'm drinking a Truly, like, what am I even supposed to say? And they said, time to get unruly when you're drinking a Truly, or ain't no rulies when you're drinking Trulies, which, like,
that's
is cute.
Fun.
But, like, ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Oh my gosh. This reminds me, we were just filming a video where you dress like you did in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about how, like, your style is so funny to look back on because it was, like, so much sportier than it is now.
Yeah.
Like, in one of them, you were wearing, like, a backwards hat. It had, like, blue hair extensions, which is just, like, that's White Claw culture.
Oh, yeah.
White Claw culture is wearing Uggs with shorts while wearing your boyfriend's hat backwards. and drinking a White Claw.
Yeah.
In a basement.
If only White Claws had been around when I was of age, not in high school. but in high school.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What is your unpopular opinion today?
Ooh, I feel like this isn't my hot take.
Your hot take, that's right. We're not calling them unpopular opinions.
I was going to say, I actually don't feel like this is that unpopular of an opinion.
Okay.
But
hot take.
My hot take is that honeydew and cantaloupe just suck. I am such a fruit person. Like, literally, one of my pregnancy cravings lately has been that I go through the McDonald's drive-thru and just ask for, like, 3 packs of apple slices and a water. And they're like, that's what you want.
And you're like, yeah.
Like, I'm such a big fruit person, but cantaloupe and honeydew get incorporated into, like, every fruit salad, every little, like, to-go pack of fruit, and they taint the other fruit's flavors, and they're just, like, flavorless, gross, nothing.
Everyone says that our hot takes can't be that hot because we always agree with each other, but I can't help it. I agree with you on this.
Like, it's just bad, right?
Here's the thing. But see, I will disagree with you on one thing. Okay. I actually like cantaloupe if it's on its own.
Okay.
Like, I don't know why. I associate it with my childhood because, like, when I was swimming in the pool as a kid or, like, at the beach, my mom would always bring a cantaloupe and cut it open.
Yeah.
So, like, if there's cantaloupe individually, I'll eat it and it tastes good.
Yeah.
Honeydew straight sucks no matter what.
I just feel like I do think that cantaloupe is the lesser of two evils. Yeah. Honeydew is just, like, weird air. And it's, like, green. It's, like, it looks like it could be a vegetable.
Yeah, and, like, that's not what I want in my fruit salad.
Yeah, you want your fruits to be, like, vibrant and, like, so sweet. And, like, maybe have an interesting texture. Like, watermelon for me is the one fruit that I don't love.
Oh, really?
But I'll eat it.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like it's kind of, like, airy.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But I feel like as a vegetarian, I'm frequently tempted to order like a fruit cup or like a fruit bowl because a lot of the times that's like one of the only things I can get.
100%.
And I'm like, but is it going to be like pineapple, grapes, watermelon, and then strawberries? Or is it going to be like 90% honeydew and then like a piece of cantaloupe and a grape?
Yeah.
Because I don't want that.
That is the struggle of my life.
I agree with you on that.
I feel so seen.
If you are like a fan of honeydew, come for us in the comments.
Please. I think Kyle might like honeydew. Also, we have to address something.
That's what I was as soon as she said Kyle, the light bulb went off in my head.
My husband has an alter ego.
He catfished us. So, if you guys remember, on the Husband Cast episode, Kyle was making fun of me for never linking things in the description, which I will admit I am terrible of, and I will clown on myself about that.
I will clown on. Why do you keep saying I will clown on myself?
Because I will.
Where did you pick up that phrase from? That's so Steven of you. Like in the Husband Cast, we talked about Steven picking up like Hella or like Stan.
I think I picked it up from my little brother.
Ooh, I could see Austin.
I think
being
Austin
like,
says that a lot.
We clown
on ourselves. So I clown on myself about me not linking things in the description. And in 2 episodes ago, now that you're watching this, but more recently as we're filming this, I didn't link something in the description, and a YouTube channel with the name links in the description and no profile photo just left a comment linking all of the things that I said I would link and didn't. And I commented, I was like, ha ha ha, so funny. And then Kyle texts us in our group chat and is like, I'm the phantom who is linked in the description.
I tell him all the time, I'm like, I feel like you like doing our job so much that like you should just come
do
volunteer.
Yeah.
Like just do volunteer hours and like really live your fantasy. Because if you're going to listen to the entire episode and track, like he doesn't have the links. He has to like track them down. Like, why don't you just do my job for me?
Just put them in the description.
Why don't you just like edit the whole podcast? Because like you love it so much. If you love it so much, why don't you marry it, Kyle? I guess he did marry one of the co-hosts.
So when I inevitably forget to link something in the description of this episode, Kyle can just, you know what? I'm just not even going to link any of the tests that we took. Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll pin it. Link it in the description.
He makes a website called like Skylar and SierraSucks.org.
He probably would. I would not put it past him and Steven to like pay for the domain name. Steven would code the website. Kyle would design it. And then they would like type on it.
It would just be like video or like pictures of us like derping. Like you click on it and it's all just like us like looking really rough. Anyways, what's your unpopular, or what's your hot take?
My hot take is that people who say cha-cha-cha during the happy birthday song ruin it.
Retweet.
Okay, because here's the thing. I get the sentiment. I am a total attention whore, and we all know this. Even I don't say cha-cha-cha in the happy birthday song. Like, if anyone was gonna do it, it would be me. Like, and here's the other thing. The pause between happy birthday to you, it's not actually long enough to say cha-cha-cha. If you could say cha-cha-cha without interrupting the flow of the happy birthday song, but let's reenact it. The reality of it is, go ahead and sing happy birthday. And
happy birthday to you.
Cha-cha-cha.
Birthday.
Cha-cha-cha. Like, it doesn't fit.
You know, the only amendment I'll make is, well, I feel like people who sing cha-cha-cha are making it about themselves.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, this is very hard because Carly told us right before we started filming that she does the cha-cha-chas, and I keep looking into the camera to, like, look at the camera, and I see Carly just glaring at me.
Carly, are you taking it personally?
No, Carly, we love you.
Wait, but do you do the and many more on channel? Okay.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think that's more okay than the cha-cha-chas
I
because at
agree.
least it's wrapped up.
Yeah.
At least it's like he or she is blown out the candle.
You can be cutting the cake as they're going, and big fat lady on channel 80 and Scooby-Doo. Like, you can keep going.
Totally. But I think the cha-cha-chas, and especially sometimes people like clap along with it, it's too much.
I don't like it.
Carly, we get it. You're quirky, you're cute, but you gotta cut it out with the cha-cha-chas.
On your birthday, we will cha-cha-cha for you, though.
But only on your birthday.
Okay, don't do it on my birthday.
Don't do it on Bruiser's birthday, not on Bella's, not on mine.
Only on your birthday.
We're all, sorry, Carly, we actually didn't get you any presents or cards. We just are going to allow you to sing
say
cha-cha-cha for
cha-cha-cha.
yourself. We aren't going to say it, but you can sing happy birthday to yourself.
I think if you are the one saying cha-cha-cha on your own birthday, I think that's fine.
Oh, that's totally fine. That's like a
Because-
yeah. The birthday song is supposed to be about the person whose birthday it is. And also, it's so awkward to get your birthday song sung to you.
Because you don't sing it.
Yeah,
So
and then
if
you don't
you-
know what to do with your hands. If you're like clapping every like couple words and have a little interjection.
Dance, I think that's fine. So sing it on your own birthday.
Or have like a group consensus beforehand of like, hey, we're going to sing happy birthday when the waiter comes out. We are going to do the cha-cha-chas.
Yes.
And then have that. But like otherwise, you're just messing with the flow.
I can't remember if it's my mom who's a cha-cha-cha person or not, but it was my little brother's
no.
birthday recently, and we were at the brewery, and someone cha-cha-cha'd, and I feel like it was my mom, but it might have been Carter.
I don't know. It could have been either.
It sounds like my mom. My mom sounds like a cha-cha-cha person.
Carter also kind of sounds like a cha-cha-cha
They
person.
both
No.
did. Anyways, enough about cha-cha-cha. What is your bump date?
My burp day.
I was gonna say birthday. Bump
My
date.
birthday is March 19th. I'm a Pisces. My bump date is that Kyle felt the baby kick for the first time last night, which is very exciting.
I was like working on the computer when Skylar came in this morning, and we were just like kind of talking as I was writing a video description, and then she said that, and I like flipped around in my chair, and I was like, tell me everything. So tell us everything.
It was so exciting because I've been feeling like little flutters, but also, as I say a lot on this podcast, I have anxiety. And so all the time I like feel like flutters in my stomach, even if I'm not pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always describe it to Kyle as like, it kind of feels like I'm on like the Tower of Terror at Disneyland. And I'm like going down on a drop. And so I felt that like a lot recently, and I was like, but I shouldn't be anxious, like I'm walking into a CVS. I'm laying in bed watching like, I don't know, a baking show. And so I just kind of wrote it off as like, oh, it could be flutters, but like probably not. And then we've gone to an ultrasound, and I had like my doctor do a fetal Doppler on me recently. Mm-hmm. And both times, like the different people said that like he was one of the most active babies they've ever seen. Like he seriously the whole time was like kicking and punching and sucking his thumb and like doing all sorts of things. And so they're like, I'm really surprised you haven't felt him. And so I think I was like made hyper aware of it. And so last night we were laying in bed, and I like put my hand, because I was like kind of feeling it, but like I put my hand on my stomach and I felt it like from my hand. And I was like, oh, Kyle can probably feel this. And so he did it and he felt it. And it was like a big kick. So I'm really hoping that means he's a tap dancer and not like a soccer player.
I was gonna say, maybe he's a cheerleader. Lots of energy, lots of spunk, flexible.
Yeah, maybe he's just a little dancer. They also said he has really long legs. So
he's either going to be like a volleyball player, a swimmer, or a dancer.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I don't know where he gets that from, though. Kyle and I are not very active people.
That's so cute, though.
I never crawled as a baby, so I have really, really bad hand-eye coordination.
That's one of my favorite facts about Skylar. Like, she literally went just from, like, laying on her stomach, sitting, to, like, walking.
But that was, like, my whole childhood. Like, everything was done like that. And I think at the time, my mom was like, oh, look at my baby doing things so early. But it's like, now that I got older, it's like, I probably already wouldn't have been that good at sports. Like, I'm not necessarily, like, made for, like, the outdoors or heat or exercise. But also the fact that, like, I just am kind of like a... What are those? The floaties outside of, like, car washes?
Oh, the wacky waving inflatable tube men?
Yeah, that's who I feel like. But anyway, so that's my bump date.
Now that you can feel kicks literally in the office just 24/7, I'm just going to be, like, working with my hand on your stomach, just like, I want to feel him kick.
And you have to go really low, too. Because, like, he's not up in, like, my ribs yet.
Right.
So you just have your hands, like, right on my lower stomach.
Has anyone, because I know a lot of people talk about when they're pregnant that, like, random people try to touch their stomachs.
Yes.
Has that happened to you yet?
Yes. Well, so it's interesting because, like, the people that I'm actually close with will be like, oh, I want to touch it, but, like, I won't. And I'll be like, no, like, Mom, like, you can touch my stomach, that's fine. And she'll be like, oh, I won't do it.
Yeah.
But then, like, random, like, old people will just, like, grab it. And I'm like, especially when I was only, like, 14, 15 weeks, and, like, I was showing, but it's not, like, a bump yet. Like, I still feel like that's in my bubble.
Yeah.
It was really weird to have people just, like, throw their hand on your stomach. You're like, cool. You're
Please
not
don't
feeling
touch
anything.
me.
Like, I think it's fun. Like, even with Kenzie, she'd be like, oh, like, my baby's having hiccups. Like, wanna feel? Because, like, there's something to feel. But it's weird when, like, your baby's...
It's like, why are you touching my skin? You're not feeling the baby.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I'm also a very touchy person. So, like, if you ever want to touch my stomach, go for it. Sierra,
I was
not
gonna
the
say,
listeners.
maybe you should, like, extend that just to me and not, like, to the world.
Just, like, to you and Carly.
Yeah.
And, like, the people I know.
What about Bella? Definitely not. Maybe, but Bruiser? Yes.
Yes. Big yes.
Oh, also, we're both wearing these little necklaces that say Unfiltered because Carrie Dayton sent these to us. As,
She's
like,
so sweet.
She's
I love her
so
so
sweet.
much.
She said she had bought them for us when we launched the podcast, and then she was going to give them to us the next time she came out here, but, like, we haven't planned a trip because we had one, and then we had to cancel it, and then when everything happened with BeautyCon, she was like, I want to send them to you now, and she sent them to us, and it was so sweet.
We love Carrie.
I love Carrie.
I want her on the podcast so bad.
I know. We need to get her out here.
We always get comments being like, make Carrie a guest, but she lives in Arizona, so it's like a matter of coordinating a lot of things. But we want her on. She wants to be on.
Yeah, it'll happen.
It'll happen.
We're actually just now starting to book our first few guests. Yeah. So maybe not the next podcast or the one after that, but maybe in like 3 or 4 podcasts. Mm-hmm. I'd say in the next month and a half to be safe.
Yeah.
We'll probably have our first guest.
Which is exciting. Like
so
YouTuber
exciting.
guests, not like husband cast guests.
Yeah. Sorry, Stephen and Kyle. I guess you don't count as guests.
Just drag them.
So should we get into our personality types?
So do we want to do the Enneagram first?
Let's do Enneagram first because I think that's the one, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the one that we're both most like attached to.
Well, and also I think it's the one we can talk about for the longest. Like I think the other ones are fun.
Yeah.
But I feel like this one is very interesting.
So I am a type 3, which there's like 2 words for each. So I am either the achiever or the performer.
Ooh. Do you want to talk for a second while I look up what my other word is?
Yours was the perfectionist and the reformer, right?
No, that was
type
Kyle.
1.
That's Kyle.
Okay. So I'll read you just the brief about mine as a 3. So 3s are self-assured, attractive, and charming, ambitious, competent, and energetic. They can also be status conscious and highly driven for advancement. They are diplomatic and poised, but can be overly concerned with their image and what others think of them. They typically have problems with workaholism and competitiveness. At their best, they can be self-accepting, authentic, everything they seem to be, and role models who inspire others. Their basic fear is being worthless. Their basic desire is to feel valuable and worthwhile. And their key motivations are to be affirmed, to distinguish themselves from others, to have attention, to be admired, and to impress others.
That is so interesting. Because I feel like that's just, like, nail in the head. That's you.
And for the positive and the negative. Because at my best, I'm a role model. And at my worst, I'm too obsessed with keeping up that image and working to be perfect and working for all these achievements. And, like...
Which I think it's so interesting that, like, one of your labels is the performer, because that makes so much sense.
And then the other is the achiever, which I feel like are kind of the two aspects of my channel, is that, like, I'm a performer. I used to be a theater kid. You know, I'm good at being on camera. I'm on stage, whatever it is. But in terms of the achiever, like, I will stay up till 2 a.m, like, editing a video.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, oh my gosh, I have to stay up late. I'm like, I want to stay up late because I want to get to this goal.
Yeah. That's like even back in the day when we were first figuring out like who we wanted to hire on or like what other things we wanted to outsource. I remember you being like, I like editing. I like scheduling. I like doing all these things. And it's like, I get that you like to work like 80-hour weeks, but that's not helpful for you. So let's figure out what you like to do the least instead of like what you don't like to do.
Like I didn't want to hire on an editor or an assistant or a producer because I was like, I can do all of it. Yeah. And I'm like, and I can achieve it and I can do it on my own. Yeah. But it's like that leads to the workaholism aspect where like, and I think a lot of people who have a better work-life balance on YouTube are either outsourcing like I am now, or they're just like, I don't need to post 2 videos a week. Yeah. I can post a video every month. I don't need to post on Instagram today. I don't need this to be perfect. Whereas I'm like, I need to have everything perfect. My like biggest fear is like letting down my viewers. Like multiple times I've missed a video and I literally think in my head, like everyone's going to hate me. Yeah. And then I look at the comments and everyone's like, girl, take your time. Like, you never miss uploads. You're good. Like, take care of yourself. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, if I don't hit the goals that I set for myself, which are 2 videos a week and, you know,
and a podcast and vlogs. Right. And we've talked to other YouTubers who, like, don't look at their analytics. Like, they just, like, aren't interested. Like, it's not healthy for them. Whereas I feel like you're someone who you look at them and, like, are honest about them. Yeah. Like, I think it was the last podcast we did, or maybe 2 ago, where your hot take was that, like, the algorithm, like, isn't against you. Yeah. And I feel like you're always very self-aware of, like, oh, this video is, like, it's been 5 minutes and it's not at the average 5-minute view mark. And then you're hard on yourself and you're like, oh, but at 10 minutes, it's totally fine. And I think a lot of people like want to be on camera and want to share their lives, but also are like,
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I struggle with the just, you know what, if I had fun with it, then that's all that matters. I'm like, no. If I don't hit these achievements and these benchmarks and these, like, I mean, the whole joke is that I'm competitive about everything. Yeah. Like, and I was looking up so many memes about Enneagrams during prep for this podcast. So I found a bunch about type 2s, which is Skylar, and type 3s, which is me. And all of the type 3 ones were like, I hate brushing my teeth next to someone because it's like, who's going to brush for longer? Who cares more about dental hygiene? Who's going to give up first? Like, everything in life is a competition. And, like, that's so me.
Funny. Well, it's such an interesting duality, too, of, like, wanting to be, because you're not a perfectionist. No. Like, you are, I feel like, very, like, understanding with yourself about certain things. Like, I feel like you're not super self-critical. Like, I think you're self-critical just as much as, like, a lot of people.
The thing is, I'm only self-critical when I don't hit the achievements I'm supposed to get.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between me and a perfectionist, is I don't look at a video and see everything wrong with it and then be like, no, I can't post it. It has to be perfect. I post the video, and if it does well, I'll be like, great, everything's perfect. Yeah. And if it doesn't, then I'm like, what's wrong with me?
I think the difference is that you're able to revel in your accomplishments and take the little landmarks. Like, you just hit 900K, which we're so excited about. And we were able to, like, you and I sat down, or not sat down, we were texting about it, being like, this is so amazing. Yeah. Like, this is so exciting. This is more than, like, either of us could have ever thought. And, like, you're able to take those moments and not be like, I hit it, but I didn't hit it then, or I hit it this way, and because of this. Yeah. Like, I think you're able to just be like, which I think is so awesome.
But it is also interesting because, like, I'm very driven. And like literally the day I started my YouTube channel, I started like mapping out where I want my achievements to be in terms, like literally the day I started in terms of like uploads and like if I wanted to make it my career and make money off of it and like subscriber benchmarks. I never thought I would get to this level. Yeah. So like now at this point, any achievement I make, I'm happy with. Because I was like,
me so happy.
My number one goal was to hit 100,000 subscribers. And so everything after that has been like, cool.
Yeah.
But then now that I'm at this point, I'm like, well, now we have to get to 1 million. And then will I be happy when I get to 1 million? Like I thought I would be when I got to 100K? Or when I hit 1 million, will I be like, I don't have 10 million? Like, will it ever be enough?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Do you want to read yours?
Sure. Okay. So I am a type 2, and which is the helper and the caretaker, which I feel like makes so much sense.
Absolutely.
So the type 2 in brief, 2s are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted. They are friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing, but can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing. They are well-meaning and driven to be close to others, but can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. They typically have problems with possessiveness and with acknowledging their own needs. At their best, unselfish and altruistic, they have unconditional love for others, basic fears of being unwanted, unworthy of being loved, basic desire to feel loved. Enneagram type 2 with a 1 wing is a servant, which is what I would be. Which I think is so interesting.
That's so you. And like, just like mine, for the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
Like, you're so caring. You're so helpful. You always go out of your way to like make other people's day and make other people feel needed. But then you also in turn need to feel needed.
Yeah.
And like, I think sometimes you feel like you need that person to need you as much as you need them.
Like, even, like, this weekend, we were at my sister's birthday party, and my mom was saying something about, like, some of my grandparents, and was like, I've always heard that, like, you should get into a marriage where, like, the guy loves, or, like, the man loves the woman a little more, because, like, women go crazy with age, and this, that, and the other, and I was like, that's so silly, da-da-da-da-da, and we were talking about it, and I was like, it's so funny, because I obviously love Kyle way more than he loves me.
Really?
And literally everyone around us was like, what are you talking about? Like, not to drag Kyle, but it's very apparent that he loves you, like, the same, if not more, than you love him. And it's so interesting because, well, first of all, we showed love in, like, such different ways. Like, Kyle's such, like, an action person. Like, literally that morning, I said I wanted cinnamon rolls. And he was like, well, I can bake them, but, like, it'll take an hour and a half to, like, bake them from scratch. And I was like, that's too long. I'm pregnant and hungry. So he, like, went to the store and, like, bought me cinnamon rolls and oranges to, like, make fresh made the orange juice. And then, like, all day, like, took care of the cats, cleaned the house, did laundry, everything. But I think for me, I'm such, like, a, like, touchy-feely, like, I love you, like, do you love me kind of person. And so to me, I was like, oh, well, that doesn't apply to us at all, because, like, I love Kyle way more. And so it's interesting and I feel like that with friendships too, all the time, of me being like, Sarah, you're my best friend. Do you like me?
Am I your best friend?
Am I your best friend? Like, I don't know. I just always feel like I, like, need to be needed. And even with work stuff of, like, even when we were, like, deciding what responsibilities I would hand over, like, after the baby, what I'm going to do, I feel like I'm so apt to be like, I can still do all of it. Like, you need me, right? Like, no one else can do that, right? And it's like, no, other people can do it, and you can still be needed, just, like, in a different capacity.
I didn't even notice that. But now that I think about it, because when we were first hiring on Carly, we, like, wrote everything down, and, like, one of the things was, like, doing Poshmark, which is so time-consuming. And you're like, I can do Poshmark. And then, like, we hired Carly on, and you're like, actually, maybe I don't need to do Poshmark. Like, maybe I can be useful and needed in other ways.
Totally.
And I think, but I think you've gotten so much, like, you are, I think, honestly, like, so there's, like, levels of, like, functioning. Like, level 1 is, like, the best, and then level 9 is, like, the worst in your Enneagram. You're, like, a level 1. Aww. Like,
it's so nice.
You really are.
You're, like, a 6.
You're, like, an 8. No, you really are, though. Like, I think, like, as obviously we've been friends since we were, like, 16, and not, probably definitely not 1s, like 7s.
Well, but I think, like with both of us, I think one of our next podcasts will be about mental health. And so I think we can talk about it then too. But I think both of us like work and then get like, or not even working. Like it can be traveling. It can be like hanging out with friends every night.
Just mental exhaustion.
It's like you get to a point and then I think that's when you fall into your worst types of Enneagram. Mm-hmm. Like even the other day you texted me and were like, hey, I can tell you're getting a little overwhelmed. Like maybe you could like take this day off and we could figure out like the work to shift over to this day and this day. And I was literally typing out a reply of like, oh no, like why would I need that day off? I'm totally good. I'm fine. And I was like, I just cried in the car for 20 minutes and like I really need to eat and shower and like I should just say yes. Like, if someone's offering you a break or offering you, like, some sort of, like, we don't need you for this, like, it would be great to have you there, but it's not necessary. Sometimes it's just important to be like, thank you for offering. That is so kind. I will take you up on that offer.
Well, and I think what I've really learned with you, too, is I used to say, like, we don't need you there. You're fine. But that's not what you need to hear as a type 2. Like, totally. You don't want to hear we don't need you because then you're like, I have to be there, so I make sure I'm needed.
Yeah.
What you need to hear is we need you, but we'll manage.
Yeah.
And, like, we care more about you and you being taken care of than, like, the work.
Totally.
But I think for me, I need to be told I'm not needed.
Exactly.
And so my first instinct is to be like, you're not needed. And you're like, wait, no, why am I not needed?
See, and I feel like even when it comes to like plans and things with you, I feel like I'm so apt to, if you're like, hey, like I'm really stressed, I'm going to be like 30 minutes late, I'm so sorry. Me being like, hey, let's do it another night.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be tonight. You're good.
You don't need to be here.
And I appreciate, and it's funny that, like, that's so our types, but it's also just, like, the way that we are in life, so we've, like, naturally learned to navigate that with each other.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how, like, Enneagram types are just, like, so accurate.
Because if you had said to me, I would love to have you here, but it's okay if you can't make it, I'd be like, now she's guilt-tripping me.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Whereas if I said that to you, you're like, how sweet that they want me there.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I think that's why learning, like, not even just Enneagrams, because we learn that about each other naturally, but just, like, learning how other people, like, need to be communicated to. Like, learning with Steven, how I can communicate properly with him, and, like, with my mom and with you. Those things are so, so important.
Oh, 100%. I feel like for maybe, like, your closest, like, 3 people in your life, I just feel like it's such a game changer. Not to be, like, such a millennial, to be like, take the love language test or take the Enneagram test. But it genuinely has helped my relationship with you and Kyle so much.
Which one was my love language? I don't remember. We took it in the car one time on the way back from Disneyland. I think it was words of affirmation.
And quality time.
Quality time and words of affirmation. Steven's was physical touch, which is another thing that, like, when Steven, sorry to, like, totally sidetrack.
No.
But when Steven and I get in fights, he's like, or not even just in fights, like, if I'm stressed.
Yeah.
If I'm, like, upstairs working, he'll come home and be like, hey, give me a hug.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't, like, I don't want to be touched right now. Like, I need to do this and then let's hug.
Yeah.
Like, you know what would be really great? If you told me, like, hey, you got this. I appreciate you. You're strong. Like, I need those words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And then later we can spend time together. But, like, don't touch me. I'm stressed.
Which is so funny because you and Kyle are so similar. Yeah. Like, I'm also physical touch, and then I'm, like, gifts.
Yeah.
Or, like, I forget what the thing is. I don't think it's just gifts. I think it's something to make it sound better. Like, thoughtful gifts. It's not like, give me money, and that's my love language.
Send me a check, and I'll love you forever.
It's, like, exactly when, like, how, since I've been pregnant, like, Kyle makes me breakfast in bed every morning. And, like, that means so much more to me than, like, if he were to come, like, he tries to come to every OBGYN appointment, but I would much rather him make me, like, a bagel in bed every morning than, like, actively be there for everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's helpful to know because Kyle's is, like, acts of service. Like, that's 100% his.
Yeah.
And so for him, if he spends the whole day, like, doing laundry, cleaning the house, cleaning Poppy's cage, and then I come home and I'm like, give me a hug. Like, I love you so much. He's like, but I just showed you
how I love you.
All of this love. Like, I just, like, changed your oil in your car. And for me, I'm like, that's great. But also, like, let's hug. Like, let's go get dinner, you know?
You and Steven are so similar. I feel like if you guys haven't had it your way, it's just you guys would just hug me all the time. And I'd be like,
I would just be, like, holding your hand this whole podcast.
So that was one thing. When we took the love language test and you got physical touch for one of them, you're like, yeah, like, if it was up to me, like, we'd be holding hands right now. Like, to me. I was like, That would make me so uncomfortable.
But I just love it.
Like, you
I
just
feel like
wanna
that's
be
also,
touched.
we've talked before about, like, what age we're most excited about for, like, having kids.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just so excited for infants because I feel like, well, like, they're like cats that can't run away from you. Like, they can't crawl or walk yet. So, like, you just kind of stuck
That is so
cuddling
interesting
me.
because I'm most excited for, like, the age to, like, 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Where, like, they're not in school yet, so they're hanging out with me all the time. But, like,
But
we
they
get
can,
to
like, run
do
around.
things. Like, I'm excited to, like, go to the park and, like,
Yeah.
like, play tag and, like, do things together.
And I'm just so
That's
excited
blowing
to,
my
like,
mind.
cuddle them. And, like...
And I'm not that excited for the newborn phase.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not pregnant, just putting that out there. But now that, because I edited it out of the last podcast, actually.
Yeah, I noticed that.
In the last podcast, I mentioned that I was going on prenatals. And, like, Steven and I were kind of starting the process of, like, figuring out our timeline for trying to conceive. And then I, like, got nervous and I edited it out. But, like...
I noticed that, but I didn't want to talk to you about it.
You can talk to me about it.
I never want to be pushy about things.
No, you're not pushy. But
Do you
now...
want to talk about it a little bit? I know you've talked about it on your vlog channel.
Yeah.
But...
Well, okay, so first of all, I'm not pregnant, and Steven and I are not currently trying to get pregnant. One of the things that I said in the podcast is like, oh, I'm off birth control, but we're not trying. And, like, all of the comments were like, if you're not trying, you're trying. I'm like, no, we're using condoms. So we're actually not trying right now. But we are doing the things that we need to do to work towards that point where we are trying.
Like, you went to the dentist today.
I did. And I have to get a filling in October. But, like, and we're not booking any other travel that would go to a place like Mexico that has Zika so that we couldn't try to conceive after that. Like, we're doing all the things so that when we are ready, we can just go for it. And then after that, we're taking it day by day. Yeah. And so, like, I'm starting to take ovulation tests because, like, I don't know when I ovulate. I don't know what that feels like. I want to, like, learn my body and so that when we do try, I'm not like, oh, I wonder if I'm ovulating today. I'm like, no, I know, like, at this point in my cycle, I usually ovulate and, like, it usually makes me feel like this and that kind of thing.
Which is also one of the biggest tips I can give to anyone out there that's, like, trying to conceive, or TTC, as they call it in the mom community.
I just learned that.
Oh, that's so
an
cute.
OPK.
Yeah.
Continue.
Or BFP.
I haven't learned that one yet. What's that?
Big fat positive.
Oh,
For, like, when you
I
get,
love
like,
that.
your, like, positive pregnancy test.
I also learned that BD means sex because it means baby dance.
Yep.
That's what they call it to, like, not get flagged.
Yeah.
But continue.
I was gonna say, because I know a lot of you out there are, like, our same age or in our same, like, stage of life. I would say start tracking your ovulation, like, as soon as you think that you might even have that conversation. Yeah. Because, like, TMI, but, like, the week I got pregnant, I thought I was going to ovulate a week later. Like, I had been tracking for months.
Because that's what the app says. But everyone's body is different. An app isn't going to tell you exactly when.
But since I had been taking my ovulation tests every day, and since I had been, like, so diligent about it, I ovulated a week later and then, like, was able to get pregnant because I knew that. But, like, if I hadn't been taking the tests and I hadn't been, like, knowing my cycle, I had just been, like, guessing off of, like, when I should be ovulating, I wouldn't be pregnant right now.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Well, and now that I'm actually, like, doing research and, like, Steven and I scheduled the preconception visit and I, like, went and visited my doctor, I'm realizing I wish I would have gotten off birth control way earlier. And I wish I would have started tracking my ovulation way earlier. Yeah. Because I got off birth control in May, which I thought was early. I was thinking, if we're trying at the end of 2019 or early 2020, getting off in May is so early. It took my body 4 months to adjust, and my doctor said that's pretty soon. Like, some women can take 6 months to a year. Yeah. I had no idea. And then now, I'm like, cool, I have, like, a few months to track my ovulation before we even think about starting to try. Yeah. But it's like, how great would it have been if I had 6 months? I had no idea. Yeah. And I wish I would have done honestly, start doing the research on it before you even get to the point where you're trying. Yeah.
Like, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking about it, like, start taking ovulation tests, start taking prenatals, and, like, get off birth control. Would be my advice.
I thought it was going to be too soon. I thought I'm like, oh, I'm jumping the gun here.
No.
I waited too long.
Yeah. Also, Kyle, will you please link our ovulation tests in the description?
Kyle.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Because they're the best. I feel like I've gotten, like, 50 DMs of people being like, hey, that's what I used too. Or, like, that's what Aspen Ovard used. Or that's what whoever used. But they're great. Yeah. But anyways.
Sorry, we got sidetracked. Anyways.
But I feel like that's, like, important information. Yeah. And also stuff that, like, I love to hear on podcasts.
Oh, yeah,
of people,
for sure.
like, genuinely sharing helpful advice, because it's so hard to get on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I was even talking to my grandma this weekend, and she was like, what's the hardest thing with pregnancy? And I was like, honestly, like, not the nausea, not the anything. It's that, like, information is so hard to track down in 2019, because, like, there's so many sources. Like, even I talked about essential oils on the podcast, and then I got, like, so many DMs being like, oh, it's totally fine. Which, if you make that choice for yourself, that's awesome and that's great. And, like, I will occasionally diffuse some things in my home that, like, have been tested, but, like, I'm not going to use anything topically or, like, ingest anything for myself because my doctor can't say it's okay.
Right.
But it's hard because, like, there are entire books out there on, like, how to use essential oils in pregnancy. Like, entire books.
Yeah.
And so it seems like that's just totally okay.
Yeah.
But since pregnant women don't like to be tested on, it's really hard to, like, nail down what is and isn't okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's, like, one of the hardest things of, like, trying to conceive in pregnancy is, like, there's just so much information. Like, there's so many ovulation tests and so many, I don't know.
It is so crazy. Like, there's a wealth of information, but there's not a consensus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, but then that gives you an opportunity to make your own decisions.
Well, like, even with prenatals, I was texting you because I spent so much time researching prenatals of, like, I watched so many YouTube videos and looked at so many, like, listicles of, like, the best prenatals. And before I got pregnant, I was taking these, like, horse pill sized pills because I was like, these are the best, they're this, they're that. And I went into my first appointment when I was 8 weeks pregnant, and I had been so nauseous, and I was like, okay, so I'm taking these prenatals. She was like, as long as they have DHA and folic acid, they're literally all the same.
Yeah.
Like, you should switch over to gummies because you're nauseous and you can't keep them down. Yeah. And, like, it's better to be getting the good stuff in, like, a gelatin form than, like, taking this gigantic, like, organic pill that, like, you aren't getting any of because you're sick all the time.
Right.
You know? But it's things like that of, like, my doctor literally not caring what prenatal I take as long as it has, like, 2 key ingredients.
But if you went on the internet, people would be passionate about, if you don't take this prenatal, you're missing out and you're doing this wrong.
Totally. Which I'm sure there are pros and cons to different prenatals. But it's one of those things where I wish someone had just told me, like, just take gummy prenatals.
That's
like,
what,
you know.
When I had asked my doctor when I went in and got all my blood testing done, I was like, so now that I'm going to start prenatals, like, which ones should I take? And they were like, as long as it has DHA and folic acid, you're good. So I just went with the 1-a-day women's, which is what my friend Kenzie takes. And she goes, make sure you take 2, because even though they're called 1-a-day, you have to take 2. And on the back, it says you have to take 2. But I want to have Kenzie on the podcast sometime because I think it's interesting to have, like, her who now has a 5-week-old, you who's pregnant, and then me who wants to be pregnant in the future. It's like 3 different perspectives.
It might even be interesting if we could time it out till it's like when you're, like, openly trying to conceive. Yeah. Because that could be a really interesting thing of, like, the 3 sides of it.
Yeah. That'd be really interesting.
Let us know if you want us to talk about more, like, pregnancy trying things. Because I feel like even on our pregnancy podcast, we talked about my story, but I feel like it's interesting just, like, everything around it. Like, not just my story, but, like, your story and Kenzie's story. And I don't know.
I would love to talk more about that. So, guys, let us know if you want to hear that. Yeah. But let's get back into the Enneagram types.
Yes.
So, do you want to read your key motivations?
Ooh, yes. So, my key motivations are want to be loved, to express their feelings for others, to be needed and appreciated, to get others to respond to them, to vindicate their claims about themselves, which I think is so interesting. Because I do think that, like, I've gone through a lot of different phases in my life. Yeah. And in each phase, I, like, wanted to become the person that I had convinced myself I was.
Oh,
like,
that's so deep and so real.
Because, like...
Good, but it's so true for you.
Because, like, there was a phase where I was like, wow, I'm, like, Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Like, I, like, skipped grades. I, like, am an achiever. I'm, like, an adult. And I'm all these things. And I'm self-sufficient. And so I, like, made myself out to be that person. And so I felt like I reveled in the things that made me that person. Or, like right now, like, I love to think of myself as, like, maternal and caring and, like, a caretaker. Yeah. So I feel like I, like, love my Enneagram type because I'm like, great. Yeah, the helper, the caretaker. Like, that's so validating. And I think, Like, that is always the person I've been. Like, I think if I had taken the Enneagram type or test at any point in my life, I still would have gotten the 2, because that's still has always been applicable to me. But
like, you went through your, like, Zooey Deschanel phase where you, like, cut bangs and, like, wear, like, chunky sweaters. And, like, you have so identified. But with each kind of thing, and maybe this is, like, too deep and too real and don't make me cry, but I feel like the person that you are trying to be now is, like, actually who you are.
Really? I agree.
Like, I think you've spent a long time, like, trying to fit yourself into specific molds and, like, really identifying with only certain parts of your identity. And I feel like who you are now, which even in shallow ways, like your hair, or like the way you dress, or like just how you do your makeup, like even things like that are more just like aesthetically, like you are now every part of you, which I think is like a big part of you, like coming into yourself and like becoming who you're meant to be, and like becoming an amazing mom to your son, is like you are now not just identifying with like one part of your personality, you are like embracing all parts of them, and like you're not trying to be one thing, you're just being Skylar.
That's so sweet. Bella just started furiously licking me because she like, relates. I agree. I think that's so true. And I think that's like so deep, because I think that it really is true if you like take a step back and think about, like, not to be like, I'm enlightened, I'm where I'm meant to be, because I still have a lot of work to do on myself.
No, but I think you are. I think you're at that point.
But I think that, like, even little things, like, I wore hair extensions for so many years. Yeah. And that was like, honestly, I feel like I was maybe even more confident when I was wearing them, because, like, that was, like, a mask for me, you know? And it was, like, but now I've gotten to the point where I'm, like, no, this is my hair, and, like, it is what it is, and I'm going to, like, work on, like, doing hair treatments to, like, make it healthier, and I only dye it, like, once a year, and, like, it's, like, my natural color, like, at least on my roots, and, like, that is what it is. Yeah. When I have a baby, I'm not going to have time to clip in, like, 20 freaking extensions in my head every day. Or, like, go and get, like, whatever, the lace ones. Like, that's not who I am. Or, like, even, I, like, don't really, like, I wear makeup, but it's, like, but not much the way you used lighter to. Makeup. Yeah. Or, I don't know.
Well, and I think not, for everyone, it's not, like, doing makeup and dyeing their hair and that kind of thing isn't, like, for that reason. Yeah. But I think for you, that was such a big part of you changing who you were identifying as. Like, you had your short, like, you cut off all your hair. You had your short brown hair with your bangs. Yeah. And then, like, it was the long blonde hair, and it was, like, 2 or 3 or 4 different, like, transformations. And then now you're just, like, stripping all that down and just, like, I'm Skylar.
Well, and also, like, even my hobbies that I've had now, I've had for a really long time, and they're also very true to who I am. Like, I love plants. Like, I love taking care of things. Yeah. Like, I just find such joy in, like, making, like, new plants grow and having them all over my house. And, like, I love baking because I love, like, getting to spend that time with myself, and then also, like, giving people baked goods. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like for so long I was like, I love farmers markets. I love, like, going to the beach. I love this, that, and the other. And, like, all that stuff is fun in moderation. Like, I still do all of those things. But also, like, I get pretty overwhelmed in big crowds. So, like, farmers markets where you can't find parking, and then you get there and it's cash only, and you're having to haggle, and, like, that's fun if I have, like, Kyle with me and he can deal with all that stuff. But, like, the actuality of it is, like, that's not going to be my every weekend.
Right. That's just not the best thing for you. Yeah. And I think you're so right in that all the things that you are doing now as, like, hobbies and who you are like, actually things that you genuinely love. And they're bits of pieces you've taken from each, like, Skylar identity. Yeah. And so it's been cool to watch you, like, transform into the person that I think you're meant to be.
That's so
sweet.
Which
is really
That's
cool.
so crazy, because I literally never even thought about that until that last line of to vindicate their claims about themselves. Yeah. Like, for some reason, that just struck a chord with me.
But I think that's why I say that... Is Bella looking you still? No. That's why I think now I say that you are, like, a 1, like, the highest functioning 2, because you've gotten to that point where you are authentically you, and you don't need to, you know, vindicate yourself, and you don't need to, like, fit yourself into this mold. Like, you're just Skylar. And that's like, the best thing.
I also think that I've become a lot more self-aware of things that, like...
Totally.
Like, even, like, we joke all the time about, like, how I like everything to be white in my life. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I feel like I like my environment to be kind of like a spa. Like, I get stressed out when things are, like, messy or colorful or cluttered. And so I've realized, like when the first thing we did when we moved into our apartment was we painted it all white. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? it's worth it.
It's gonna make me happy.
Or I like changed everything in my pantry and it's all like in mason jars. Or like if it's like ugly and crazy colored and I can't put it in a mason jar, it's like in a bread bin or like in a Tupperware. And I think I've realized that about myself and like made those adjustments so that my everyday life is easier versus being like, it's fine, I'm bohemian and like quirky and it doesn't bother me, when in reality like it does. Yeah. And like and I'm fine to joke about it and I'm fine to like change things to make life easier for it. But I don't know, what are your key motivations?
Okay, so I already read my key motivations. They were to be affirmed, to distinguish themselves from others, to have attention, to be admired, and to impress others.
Ooh.
And I think those are also ones that kind of like cut me deep, because I'm like, my first inclination is to be like, oh, like I don't need to impress others. Like I joke around all the time about how I like love attention.
Yeah.
But that's another thing about my Enneagram type, is literally one of the things is that they love self-deprecating humor, which is like a huge defense mechanism for me, that I'm like, if I make fun of myself first, then like no one can like cut me down from my place and no one can take my achievements away. Because if I like, no, go.
I just stepped on you because I just had a brain click of, we talk all the time about, I think part of the reason why your content has transitioned into like experimental fashion is because like, it's more personality based, so it's like more fun, it's like more wide appealing, it's whatever. But also I wonder if it's like because you can joke about it more. It's not like, here's a fall lookbook and here's like what I think are the best things, and if people disagree, they're disagreeing with like your personal taste and saying so like true. I hate that outfit that you picked out, whereas this you're like, haha, I'm a cheetah girl and I also think it's really funny. You can't make fun of me because like even in the video that we did where you like sang everything really badly, like all the intros, which was really funny and like
a blast.
1,000,000% made the video. But I also wonder if a little bit of that is like, I'm going to sing really badly on purpose so that no one can call me out.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And with like the experimental fashion stuff, like I love making fun of what I'm wearing. Yeah. Because like my biggest fear is that like I don't want anyone to ever think I take myself seriously. Yeah. Because if they do, then they can like actually like criticize me. And they can like actually cut me down. But if like I'm making a dumb face while I'm posing in like a pair of jeans, then people are gonna like laugh with me. Yeah. Instead of like if I'm like smiling and trying to pose cute, then people will be like, oh, like she thinks she's so cute, or she thinks she's this. And I'm like, if I laugh at myself first, then no one can laugh at me.
That's so crazy. Oh my gosh. That makes so much sense. Also, I thought the, what was it? Distinguishing yourself from others. Yeah. That's really interesting.
That's interesting because at first I don't think about that about me. I'm never someone who's like tried to be different, but I think I try to distinguish myself from others in my accomplishments. Like that, like, I don't think I ever would have ended up in a normal career. Yeah. Like, I think even if I said, oh, I'm going to be an English major, I would have ended up, like, teaching English and being, like, a travel guide or something like that. Like, I just don't think, it's not that I need to be, like, different and quirky. Like, that's really not me. I think it's that, like, I want to be on top.
Well, and I think distinguishing yourself from others can even lead back to the self-deprecating humor of, like, all the time we'll, like, joke about how you'll have, like, a Pokemon phone case or, like, you're nerdy or you're this, that, and the other. And I think part of that is, like, it's not the, like, I'm quirky, I'm not like other girls. But I think a little bit. It is?
If I purposely don't fit in, then no one can put me on the outs. Wow. If I go to BeautyCon and I am purposely dressed different, and people don't accept me and make fun of me, then that's fine because I want to be on the outs and I want to be different. But if I go and I do the hair and the makeup and the dress and people still don't accept me, then I have to accept that it's me that's the issue and not like me distinguishing myself. I think that's a big part of it is like I'll have my Pokemon phone case, because I like Pokemon, but also because like then maybe people won't try to like...
Versus like your Kate Spade phone case, which is like super cute and like you love, but if someone's like looks at your phone case and doesn't love it, that's them saying they don't love you. Yeah. Whereas this is like, haha, it's funny, we can all laugh at it. Like I'm a fashion guru, yet I have a Pokemon phone case.
Like laugh at me, laugh with me. Oh my gosh.
That's so crazy that it goes down to like every little thing.
I think it does. Okay, do we want to read some of the examples of people with our type?
Sure.
So some of mine are, like, really bad, and some of mine are really good. So when I first saw it, I was like, wow, I hate my type. Because it was, like, Augustus Caesar, O.J. Simpson. I'm like, great. But then it's also like, Oprah Winfrey, Andy Warhol. Let me see some of the other ones. Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley.
That's so interesting. They're all performers.
Yeah. No, they really are. There's some politicians in here, too. There's, like, Mitt Romney, Bill Clinton.
That's so
Prince William.
Ooh. Mine are interesting. I feel like a lot of them I don't know. That might be the same on your list.
One of mine is Ryan Seacrest. I'm sorry, I just saw that.
You are such a Ryan Seacrest. I can see him being a workaholic because he's like, New Year's Eve, I gotta work. I'm sorry. I have to take this gig. Like, I can't be with my family. Like, this is really...
I'm Ryan Seacrest.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. I gotta do this. So some of mine are Eleanor Roosevelt, Dolly Parton, Paula Abdul.
Look at us. We could be on American Idol together. You would be Paula Abdul. You'd be like, yay, I love everyone.
Like, yay. Who would you? I feel like you'd be Randy Jackson. Because you're not Simon Cowell. Like, you're not, like, critical. Like, you don't want to tear people down. Yeah. I feel like you're kind of in the middle of you give people, like, constructive criticism.
It's going to be a no from me, dog.
I feel like you should get that tattooed, like, right here. Just be like, it's a no from me, dog.
I should get, like, Yas Queen, and then it's going to be a no from me, dog. And, like, someone can ask me a question, I'll be like...
So I feel like that could be your next phrase. Like, your next, like, yeehaw. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
Honestly, it might be. Okay, keep reading your people. I'm sorry, I interrupted you to tell you I'm Ryan Seacrest.
I don't know if there are any more that are, like, super interesting. Like, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie... the person who founded Mary Kay Cosmetics, Mary Kay. But yeah.
I also have Taylor Swift.
Ooh. Again, all performers.
Tom Cruise.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay. Do we want to read our overview, or do we want to just kind of skim our overview?
Yeah, or do we want to hop over to, like, what was the other test? The color code test?
Let's do one more thing on this. I want to read the healthy levels and the unhealthy levels.
Ooh, let's read the healthy levels, the unhealthy levels, and then let's read some of our favorite song lyrics from the songs about us.
And then can I I wanted to explain some of my favorite memes about our types. I pulled some memes.
Sounds great.
So, type 3, I'm going to read the top 2 healthy levels and the bottom 2.
Okay.
So, the top 2 healthy levels, level 1 at their best, self-accepting, inner-directed, authentic, everything they seem to be, charitable, modest, self-deprecating humor, a fullness of heart, gentle, and benevolent. Level 2 is self-assured, energetic, competent with high self-esteem. They believe in themselves and their own value, adaptable, desirable, charming, and gracious. And then do you want to read your top 2?
Sure. My level 1 is become deeply unselfish, humble, and altruistic. Giving unconditional love to self and others. Feel it is a privilege to be in the lives of others. And then...
See, I think that sounds like you.
Oh,
like, I really do.
I think, like, the one thing I have to work on is the self-love aspect of it. Which, like, in the song is also where it, like, cuts me deep of, like, taking care of myself. So I think, like, I give unconditional love to others. And I think I give myself conditional love, which is, like, what I need to work on. I think I give myself love, like, 80% of the time.
Yeah, but it's not unconditional.
But it's not unconditional.
You would be so much quicker to forgive me for something than to forgive yourself.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
And I think that's where it is. If I messed up, you would so quickly be like, Sierra, it's fine. Like, I love you still. And if you mess up, you would be like,
yeah,
I'll never get past this.
Totally. Like, even when we have, like, mishaps with work of, like messing up footage or losing memory cards or whatever, I feel like if you do it, I'm like, oh, it's okay. Yeah. We'll get through this. Let's, like, come up with a plan. Here's, like, step A, B, and C. But for me, I'm like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And then I, like, freak out about it for, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm, like, a level 2. Level 2 is... empathetic, compassionate, feeling for others, caring and concerned about their needs, thoughtful, warm-hearted, forgiving, and sincere. I think I'm for sure level 2.
I think I'm, like, between a 2 and a 3. My 3 is ambitious to prove themselves, to be the best they can be. I think that's definitely me. Often becoming outstanding in a human ideal. I don't think that's me. Definitely not there. Embodying widely admired cultural qualities, highly effective. I would say I'm highly effective. Like, when I get to work, it's something I really do. And then others are motivated to be like them in some positive way. I don't know about that.
That's literally your channel. That's literally, like, the body positivity movement. And, like, how many messages, I know you would never admit it, but, like, how many messages a day do you get of people being like, you inspired me, like, I look up to you.
But then I think that gets to part of, like, the song lyrics, and part of the negative one is, like, me thinking, like, is that just a facade of me, or is that actually me? Like, do people actually look up to me, or do people look up at, like, what they think I am and what I'm actually not?
They look up to you. I look up to you.
Make me cry.
I look up to Bella licking me.
Okay, so then my worst ones, at a level 7, or should I do level 8 and level 9?
Ooh.
Let's do 7 and 8, because I feel like 9 is, like, not even really applicable, because that would be, like, not functioning.
Yeah.
So unhealthy levels for 3. Fearing failure and humiliation, they can be exploitative and opportunistic, covetous of the success of others, and willing to do whatever it takes to preserve the illusion of their superiority.
That's crazy.
I think I've a few times, like, not now, but, like, especially earlier in my life, said, like, I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not healthy. Like, I should never do whatever it takes. Which I don't think I'm at a point in my life now where I would say that about anything.
No.
But I think there have been points in my life where I've been like, oh, I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Like when I played soccer, I'd be like, oh, I'll do whatever it takes to win. Trip that girl? Yeah, I'll do it.
I feel like the only time I ever see any of that now is like when it's like practical work things of like, we have to get this podcast fixed. So like,
that's true.
I'm going to do whatever it takes to fix it so that we can get it up tomorrow or whatever, you know?
You're right. I only say that about work now. And in my brain, that's healthy when it's not. Like to Steven, sometimes like he'll be like, oh, well, we have this vacation this week. Like, what are you going to do if you don't finish your video? Whatever it takes. I'll miss the vacation.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever it takes. I have to get it up. And it's like, maybe don't do whatever it takes. Maybe go on your vacation.
That's so crazy.
Okay. And then my level 8, devious and deceptive so that their mistakes and wrongdoings will not be exposed. Untrustworthy, maliciously betraying or sabotaging people to triumph over them. Delusionally jealous of others.
See, I don't think that applies to
I don't see that as much. I see more the level 7 in me, where the whatever it takes attitude.
Because I don't know if either of us have ever gotten down to like an 8 or 9.
No.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read my 8 yet. Yeah. But I think that...
I'm not a jealous person by nature, like, at all.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think about being jealous is, like, jealous of someone else's success.
Yeah.
But not wishing that they didn't have that and I did. Wishing that I was also at that success level.
Yeah. So maybe 7 is like the lowest you've ever gone.
Yeah.
I'm interested to read
let's
mine
read
now.
yours.
Okay. My level 7 is can be manipulative and self-serving, insisting guilt by telling others how much they owe them and making them suffer, abuse food and medication to stuff feelings and get sympathy, undermine people, make belittling, disparaging remarks, extremely self-deceptive about their motives and how aggressive and or selfish their behavior is. So I think the only thing in there that I can relate to is the, like, abusive food and medication to stuff feelings and get sympathy. I think, like, because I did have an eating disorder, like, I do, like, emotionally eat sometimes. Yeah. But I don't view myself as, like, a manipulative person at all.
No, you're definitely not.
And I definitely don't make belittling remarks to people or, like, get aggressive.
Can you read, like, the bullet points? Because there was one that I was like, oh, I could see maybe that at one point in your life.
The bullet point, just like the whole thing?
Yeah, sure.
Can be manipulative and self-serving.
No.
Insisting guilt by telling others how much they owe them and making them suffer.
No.
Abuse food and medication to stuff feelings and get sympathy.
You said you can see that.
Undermine people, make belittling, disparaging remarks.
No.
Extremely self-deceptive about their motives and how aggressive and or selfish their behavior is.
The only thing I could see is the self-deceptive.
Yeah.
But only in the way that we were talking about where you're like, no, I'm not pretending to be this. Like, this is actually the way I am. But that's not, you're not doing that to be, like, manipulative.
Because I don't, like, I guess maybe selfish behavior, maybe. But I don't think I make aggressive behavior.
No, definitely
I feel like that's the same thing with you and jealousy.
It's
of like
that doesn't
I
fit.
wouldn't associate jealousy to you at all, and I wouldn't associate aggressiveness to me.
I don't think I've ever heard you be aggressive.
Then,
one time we were joking around at a shoot because Skylar said something that was like totally normal, and then she's like, I'm sorry, I was just so mean. And I was like, what?
I feel like I say that like every shoot. Of like if I'm like, if it's like right before lunch and I'm like hungry, I'll be like, I'll just say like, okay, thank you, or something, instead of being like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, like, you're such a delight. And so then, like, after I eat, I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I was like so brash. And
One
everyone's
time,
like, what are you talking about?
we were imitating each other on a shoot, and I was like, hi, I'm Skylar, you can punch me in the face if you want.
So, like, I don't think I'm very aggressive.
Definitely not aggressive.
The only thing I ever get aggressive about is, like, I just see a lot of comments on, like, the BeautyCon vlog of, especially since I've been pregnant, I think actually just since I've been pregnant, I'm so protective over people. I think, like, if anyone says anything negative about you or Kyle or anyone in my life, I'm so quick to be like,
how dare
are
you?
they trying to fight?
Yeah.
Like, why? But
it's like that mama bear instinct. And it's also the Hufflepuff in you.
True.
That you're, like, loyal.
True. Okay, so my level 8.
Okay.
Domineering and coercive. I don't think I've ever been domineering in my life.
No. I could see coercive a little bit.
Yeah.
But only with Kyle.
Yeah.
I could see you, like, no, Kyle, like, let's do it this way or let's do that. But you're literally not like that with anyone else. Domineering.
Like, imagine me, like, standing over you. Oh my god.
No, you're definitely not domineering.
Feel entitled to get anything they want from others.
Definitely not
true.
No.
I feel like I literally the repayment of old debts, money, sexual favors.
Do you ever tell Kyle he owes you sex?
No.
Pay me now.
Oh my god.
Definitely not.
The repayment. I feel like that's cannot relate, which is so funny because I feel like I relate so much to
the other
everything.
Is there any other? Is that it for 8?
Yeah, that's it for 8. But
yeah,
do we want to read some Enneagram memes now?
yes. Okay.
Do you want to go back and forth?
Yeah. So let's do like you do one about me, then like I'll do one about you, and then you do one about.
Oh, mine are like tied to each other.
Okay, perfect.
So you do like one about you, one about me, and then I'll do the same, and then.
Okay. So this one about you.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is just a picture of what was the mom gorilla and Tarzan?
Oh my gosh, I love her so much.
Kaya? No.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, the mom gorilla and Tarzan, and it's just a quote, and it says, "Well, I'm going to be his mother now."
Just me about
That's
everyone.
type
in
2.
life.
Skylar to anything she meets.
Yep.
Sees like a snail on the patio. Well, I'm going to be its mother now.
Literally. Like all the time. The other day, I did let you kill a spider.
Yeah,
but
did.
you kept being like, oh, like, guess you're just a fake. Like, guess you don't really care about the spiders. Because, like, probably like a month ago, Carly and I were in here. And we saw a spider. And I was like, oh my god, I need to get a cup. And so I like really quickly like saved it and like carried it downstairs and like put it in your garden. And then we came back up and we saw a small spider. And I was like, oh no, it's the baby. And so I like grabbed it in the cup and then I like waited outside near the garden until I saw the mom and then like dropped it in the same spot because I didn't want them to be like apart from each other. But I'm like, I guess I'm your mother. Like if we can't find your big mama spider,
It's me.
I'm the mom.
I'm gonna grow 4 more legs.
And just take care of you. Okay, so then what's yours about yourself?
Okay, and then mine about myself. So I had already read the toothbrushing one, which was gonna be one that I was gonna do. So this is a different one. Me, I haven't gotten attention in 5 minutes. 911 operator. What?
I feel like that's very applicable to you.
Sometimes Steven and I will be laying in bed and like I'm awake and he's already been asleep and I'll just like poke him till he wakes up and he'll be like, what? And I'll be like, hey.
See, I feel like I do that, but I'm like, I love you. Do you know that I love you? I love you so much.
No, I'm like, hey.
You're like,
hang out with me.
hey.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
You see that I'm here? So funny. Okay, so mine is us at amusement parks.
So this is me or you?
So I'll read both of ours.
Okay, cool.
So at amusement parks, 2 is the one with the snacks, which is so true.
Always you.
I always bring like Uncrustables for everyone, granola bars, all the things. And you are the one with the fast pass, which is also so good.
Literally, I have never been to Disneyland and not been the one who does fast passes.
Yeah.
Like with Steven's family, I'm the fast pass person.
Yeah.
With Steve, we went with Steven's coworker who I had never met and his girlfriend who I had never met. You know who did the fast passes? Me.
Wait, okay, so we're going to Disneyland tomorrow. Carly, you said you just found out your Enneagram type. What type are you?
Type 7.
You're type 7. So you're the one who rides the same roller coaster 10 times in a row. Can't wait to write It's a Small World 10 times in a row because it's the only way you can write pregnant. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. And then, okay, this is another one of me. When people say I love you, I always say I love you more because life is a competition and I must win.
That's really great.
And then this one is yours. So this is like a Tumblr like thread. So like the Tumblr thing, the first one is Skylar. A mosquito tried to bite me and I slapped it and killed it. And I just started thinking like it was just trying to get food. What if I went to the fridge and it just slammed the fridge door and snapped my neck? Like how would I feel? And then the reply says, are you okay?
I relate so hard.
So you.
Okay, so this next one's like the same thing as the last one, but it's for celebrations.
Okay.
So type 2, don't make a fuss over me. True. Type 3, when I hit blank goal, then I'm going to really celebrate. Hits goal. When I hit blank goal, then I'll really celebrate.
That is so true.
That's so funny.
That's so true. That's so us.
I just love it.
That is so
There are so
us.
many good ones.
Oh.
Also, Enneagram and coffee is like the best Instagram for like Enneagram memes.
Oh, I was going to say Enneagram and memes is my fave.
Oh. See?
Type
2,
three.
type 3.
Okay, now before, I know we've already been podcasting for over an hour.
Okay.
This whole thing could have been Enneagrams. Let's just read a few of the song lyrics. So I
Yes.
won't link, but Kyle will. So go ahead, Kyle. Link the songs for each for our Enneagram types, and then you can find them. I think the album is Sleeping at Last.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy made a song.
Or the artist is sleeping at last.
Artist is Sleeping at Last.
Yeah.
A song for each Enneagram type.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll read not all of the lyrics, but some of them from our type songs.
Yeah. And he also did like a whole podcast about the making of each song. And it's really cool because like he made the songs with people of that type. So like they sent in sounds that were meaningful to them and then like incorporated them, which I think is like so cool and awesome. Okay. So what are some of your favorite lyrics?
Maybe this trophy isn't real love, and with or without it, I'm good enough.
Wow.
Like
That's you.
like I literally as a kid had trophies. Like I had my trophy shelf and all of my trophies, and like because like some sports would give you trophies and some wouldn't, and I literally would like if I didn't get a trophy I would be like, well, it like I have 17 trophies on the shelf, but I actually would have 19 because like I got first in this sport and like they didn't give us a trophy, but like I would have gotten first. And then, like, if they gave us a participation trophy, I wouldn't put it on the shelf because I didn't earn it.
That is crazy. Wow.
Like, that is... Okay, now read me one of yours.
Okay, so the first line of the song is, sweetheart, you look a little tired. When did you last eat? Come in and make yourself right at home. Stay as long as you need. Which I feel like is just... It's really cool because the 2 one... Because... 2's like one of their biggest downfalls is that like they don't take care of themselves.
They only take care of others.
And so I really like that lyric because like I kept singing it over and over and like thinking of Kyle or thinking of my friends or thinking of my family. And then I like was listening to the podcast and he turned it and was like, well, maybe you should listen to the song and like think of yourself. And I was like, oh, when I'm listening to this, like, I haven't eaten today. And, like, I do need to just, like, go lay down and, like, take care of myself.
Because you spent too much time making sure everyone else was taken care of.
Yeah. Which I just feel like is, like, so
good.
Wonderful.
Okay. Sorry, I just zoomed in on mine. Okay. And I finally see myself through the eyes of no one else. It's so exhausting on this silver screen where I play a role of anyone but me.
That's so crazy.
Like, to me, that's, like, a big part is, like... I don't know. Like, I never look at myself, like, as I am. Like, I look at myself as, like, the way other people value me.
Yeah.
So I'm never like, I'm Sierra because I'm this. I'm like, I'm Sierra because, like, other people think I'm this. And, like, other people think I'm this. And other people gave me this achievement.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's so applicable.
Okay, read me another one of yours.
It's okay if you can't catch your breath. You can take the oxygen straight out of my chest. I know exactly how the rule goes. Put my mask on first. And then it goes on. But I think that's so interesting because I always tell the quote of like you got to put your mask on before you can put someone else's on. Of like talking about oxygen masks and like how like you have to love yourself before you love other people. But I don't necessarily practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Like I think that I definitely always put other people's oxygen masks on like before I put mine on. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just very interesting.
So good. Okay, I'll do one more of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I'll do 2 more of mine, but I'll read them at once. I only want what's real. I set aside the highlight reel and leave my greatest failures on display with an asterisk worthy of love anyway. And then the other one is just the chorus that I wanted to read. Maybe I've done enough, finally catching up. For the first time, I see an image of my brokenness, utterly worthy of love. I really like both of those. Okay, read me one or two more of yours.
I'll just read the chorus.
Okay.
Like a force to be reckoned with, a mighty ocean or a gentle kiss, I will love you with every single thing I have. Like a tidal wave, I'll make a mess, or calm waters if that serves you best. I will love you without any strings attached. There's also a quote, and what a privilege it is to love, a great honor to hold you up. I feel like I say all the time to, like, Kyle and people of, like, not, like, it's a privilege to love you, but, like, synonyms for privilege of, like, I feel so lucky. Like, I just, like, I don't know how I'm so deserving of, like, loving you so much or, like, feeling these feelings. And so it's, like, I don't know. It's
but you
very
have to do that for yourself, too. Like, you also are worthy of your own love. And you also are worthy of your own affection. Well,
and it's interesting because I like that it's like a tidal wave or like a calm ocean.
Like whatever serves you best.
Yeah. Like I feel like with Kyle, I have to kind of like tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But with people like my stepdad or my siblings, I can just like
overwhelm
them with love.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like some people have to like tone it down. Yeah. Which is interesting.
That's so good.
Okay, do we want to briefly talk about the color test?
Yes.
Because I feel like the color test just kind of affirms what we know from the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more focused on who you were as a child.
Yes.
And who that turned you into.
So the interesting thing about the color test is all the questions you answer from the perspective of you as a child.
Yes.
So you answer like, when you were a child, you were X, Y, and Z. And then I also like that it tells you what motivates you. And then it also gives you recommendations for how people can have better relationships with you.
Yeah.
So my color type is yellow. And what motivates me is fun. So it says, yellows are motivated by fun. They are inviting and embrace life as a party that they're hosting. They love playful interaction and can be extremely sociable. They are highly persuasive and seek instant gratification. Yellows need to be adored and praised. While yellows are carefree, they are sensitive and highly alert to others' agendas to control them. Yellows typically carry within themselves the gift of a good heart.
That is so sweet.
But see, do you know what I mean with personality tests always focus on the positives?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, sure, and like that's me. But then the Enneagram test, I'm like, just cut me to the core.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all those things sound great.
That it's like your motive is fun.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's you. Like you always like just want to have like the best time and that's so fun.
Okay, read yours.
So I'm a blue. So my motive is intimacy. Big shocker. Blues are motivated by intimacy. They seek to genuinely connect with others and need to be understood and appreciated. Everything they do is quality-based. They are loyal friends, employers, and employees. Whatever or... Oh, don't say, oh,
I'm sorry.
That's cute.
It's true.
Whatever or whomever they commit to is their soul, S-O-U-L, focus. They love to serve and give of themselves freely in order to nurture others' lives.
Oh, that's so true.
Cute. Do you want to read the little, like, you must and you must not? Because I feel like that's, like, the only, like...
negative somewhat. Okay. So I am a yellow. For a better relationship with me, you must accept playful teasing.
True.
We were just talking about this, how like I have some friends who I like try to be really like delicate with, and then other friends who I do. I'm delicate with you. But then like my friend Jacob, we will literally just sit there and like roast each other.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting at lunch and I just like looked him in the eyes and I was like, you know, you're like not that funny. And then he looks at me and he's like, you know, you're like not a very good YouTuber. And like we joke, like we're not serious, but like we're teasing each other.
Yeah.
So like I think for me, being able to make fun of people, like
totally
don't take it too personally.
Yeah.
Enjoy my charismatic innocence.
Ooh.
Me buying the Luxo ball at Disneyland.
That's a perfect example of that.
Enjoy it.
Love it.
Value my social skills.
That's a big one. I think both Steven and I do that. I think especially Steven.
Because like, you also are very social.
I think I am good at it if I know it's like my mission, you know, of like, oh, we're at a networking event, so my job is to be social, so I will be social. Yeah. You know?
I think that's one of the things that Steven's parents said when we first started dating is like that I brought him out of his shell. And then the last one I think is really important. Definitely something for a better relationship with me.
Oh, no. It's like love Pokemon.
Remember, I feel deeply.
That's true.
I'm very emotional.
Yeah.
And there's a difference because I'm not sensitive.
That's true.
But I'm emotional.
Yeah. You'll get, I think the difference between us is that I'm really sensitive. Like, if you say something to me, I'll think about it for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I like will be emotional about it internally, whereas you're not sensitive. Like, things don't hurt your feelings or you don't like overthink them, but you will get like angry about things.
Yeah.
Or you'll get like frustrated, or you'll get like,
I cry a lot.
Yeah.
Like I feel deeply.
Yeah.
And that was something that was really hard. Again, we'll talk about this in the next episode. But that was something that was really hard for me to deal with in the deepest parts of my depression with my bipolar disorder is like, and I think part of that is me and part of that is my bipolar disorder, which can be hard to separate. Like, what is me and what is a chemical imbalance, which is a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But, like, when I feel highs, I'm, like, up on that high. And when I'm low, I am so freaking low. Totally. And I feel all of those emotions really intensely, which I think is also what drew me to the arts. Because, like, I will feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want to read yours?
I am blue. For a better relationship with me, you must take a sincere approach. True. Appreciate me. Very true. Be loyal. Big one. And allow time for me to collect my thoughts.
Ooh.
I think those are all really true.
I think those are all really true for you.
So what are your you must not?
Okay. You must not push me too intensely. I don't know if I believe in that. Like, we literally were just talking about how, like, I was like, oh, yeah, like, I used to love my trainer when I went to Project Athlete in high school because he used to scream at me. Like, I need that, like...
That's true. I don't know if that's true for you.
I kind of need someone to yell at me.
Yeah.
Like, I think that also comes back to, like, me feeling emotions deeply but not being sensitive.
Yeah.
Like, once I get upset, I'm upset. But, like, yell at me. Push me. Tell me I'm terrible. Give me that motivation. You must not ignore me.
That one's true.
You must not forget my creativity.
That's true.
Yeah. You must not think I'm a lightweight. I don't know what that's in regards to, but I've always been very defensive about the fact that I'm a lightweight. So, like, sure.
But she is a lightweight.
I know I am, but, like...
Earlier we were talking about how Kasira, like, used to always peel the labels off of her beer, like, when she was, like, drinking.
But only when I got to the point that I was, like, tipsy. Like, on my third beer, I'd start peeling the label.
And we were talking, and she was like, oh, no, now I just do that, like, every time. And I was like, is that because you become more of a lightweight?
Yes, it is.
She's like, no, I think it's just because it's really fun. And I was like,
no, it's definitely because I don't drink as much.
Yeah.
So, like, I have one beer and I start feeling it. I'm like,
you're like,
peel off this label. And you must not criticize me seriously. I would agree with that. I'm definitely sensitive to... I'm someone who really needs a compliment sandwich.
Yeah.
So, like, I want criticism. And I, like, with my trainer, yell at me. Yeah. Like, I remember what used to frustrate me so much is, like, when I would, like, show my work to someone, like, when I was an English major or even when I was a theater major, and I would, like, show my work to someone, and they'd be like, it's perfect. And I'd be like, no, it's not. Like, criticize me.
Yeah.
But when someone criticizes me immediately, I get defensive.
Yeah.
So, like, when I was in theater, I actually left my first voice coach because she stopped telling me that I needed to improve. Yeah. She'd be like, no, that was perfect. And then I went to college and got a new voice coach, and he was like, here's what you need to do wrong. And I was like, but I thought I was talented. And it's like, I need something in between those two.
Totally. I can see that for
with
you,
Steven and I, something that we argue about sometimes is, like, he immediately goes to criticism, and then I feel like he didn't appreciate, which is one of the things, appreciate my creativity.
Yeah.
So, like, if I do something for him, like, let's say I go get him food from the store and I, like, forgot to say that he wanted avocado, the first thing he'll say is, like, you forgot the avocado, instead of, like, thanks for the food, you forgot the avocado, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
And that's what I need.
Totally. I think that's what most people need. Yeah. I think I need just no criticism. But I also think I'm a rare breed of person. I think it's always better to give a compliment sandwich. I don't know if there are any people out there that just love, like, this sucks. Yeah. And are, like, straight to the point.
You're the worst.
I think everyone wants, like, a little bit of...
That's true.
Like, leeway.
Okay.
Okay. You must not make me feel guilty. True. Because if you're making me feel guilty for something, trust and believe
You
I already
feel
guilty
guilty
about it.
Yeah.
So if people, like, are intentionally making me feel guilty for things, then I just am like, crap.
You're like, now I really messed up.
Yeah. Be rude or abrupt. True. Very sensitive flower. Expect spontaneity. I think that's so true.
Really?
Like, even we talk about with travel, like, you can't just expect me to be like, okay, we're gonna eat at Chili's tonight, and, like, that's what we're gonna do in London. Like, you have to understand that, like, even you and Carly are going out of town this weekend, and I wrote down, like, a to-do list of everything you're doing, of, like, this is a 6-minute drive from here to here. And so when, like, it's like me involved, I feel like I'm even, like, crazier about it because I know you guys can handle
some spontaneity.
Yeah. Whereas for myself, I just understand that, and, like, Kyle understands that. I feel like you understand that. And then the last one is, you must not expect me to forgive quickly. I think that one is, like, half and half.
I think you say you forgive quickly.
Yeah.
And it's not just you say it and you don't. I think you actually do think that you forgive quickly, but actually in your heart, it takes you longer.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think because I take things so personally. Yeah. Like, there are a couple people in my life who I just, like, I want to be able to forgive because, like, I understand that, like, holding grudges doesn't benefit anyone, but, like, I'm just never going to be able to forgive them. Because I feel like the damage is, like, so deep. Yeah. And so I think even if, like, little things are said, it's like, I forgive you because, like, I want to move past it and I don't want to deal with the confrontation. But in my brain, it's
You're
like...
not actually ready.
Yeah. I think it takes me a long time to process things, too. Mm-hmm. Like, even I think one of the things was, like, you must give me time to, like... think about my emotions because I think I, like, just think about things so deeply that, like, even when it's stupid things of, like, oh, do you think you'll make this parenting decision or this one? It's like, I need to, like, sit and think about how I truly feel about that before I can, like, formulate a conclusion and, like, be solidified in it. Even little things of, like, which diapers are you gonna use? Like, I probably did, like, over an hour's worth of research on, like, diapers.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, like, these are the cheapest and best. Or, like, oh, this is what my mom used or whatever. Whereas everything I, like, need time for. So I think forgiveness I also need time for.
But I think some of the things, especially in your life, like, some people always don't need forgiveness. And so I think you need to not be so hard on yourself about, like, oh, well, like, I'm trying to forgive this person. Like, maybe sometimes people shouldn't be forgiven.
That. I was literally talking to my friend Jessica about that yesterday I was saying, I think the most important thing with, like, toxic people and balancing that is treating everyone like they're a human. Like, there's a certain person I can think of in my life who I understand that they are a human being and I have empathy for them, but I've also given them so many chances that I know how they're going to react because they're a human being who tends to react a certain way. So I'm not going to let them in my life because I understand that they're human and that's their perspective. Instead of being like, they're a bad person, they're always going to screw me over. That's not true. But their brains wired differently and they think a different way. And so I think it's the same thing with, like, forgiveness and empathy of understanding that the person who did that to you is the person and feeling empathy for them, but also understanding that they might not have had the best intentions in doing that thing.
Well, and also that you can forgive someone and not still need them in your life.
Yeah.
Like, you can forgive people in your life who've wronged you and say, look, I forgive you, but I still don't want you in my life because you are negatively affecting my mental health.
Totally.
But I think, especially for you, because you are so empathetic, your first instinct is to be like, of course I forgive you. Come back in.
Yeah.
And then they wrong you again and you're like, of course I forgive you. Come back in. But at a point you have to be like, I forgive you, but don't come back in.
Well, and also to understand that, because I think with, like, practicing empathy, you're always trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I think, like, both you and I at least try our hardest to always do things with the best intentions. Mm-hmm. Like, we've talked a lot about how, not on the podcast, but just in life, about how you rarely say sorry for things because you only say sorry for things that you would, like, truly do differently. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, that's an important clarification of, like, you can feel empathy for people if you think that they truly made that choice with the best intentions. But if someone is doing something malicious to you, like intentionally to hurt you, you don't need to feel empathy for them and you don't need to put yourself in their shoes because they weren't trying their best.
Yeah. Well, I had a whole conversation with my mom about 2 years ago about can you forgive someone who's not sorry?
Yeah.
I had someone in my life who said something really, really hurtful to me.
Yeah.
And my mom wanted me to forgive this person. And I was like, they haven't apologized.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, probably because they're not sorry, but you should still forgive them. And I was like, how can I forgive someone who hasn't apologized, isn't sorry, doesn't think that they should have acted differently?
Yeah.
I can't. And I will say I moved past it with that person.
Yeah.
But I can't forgive them.
Totally.
Until I'm ready to forgive this person. I've moved on. I'm around this person all the time. We have a relationship. But I can't forgive them for that specific instance if they're not sorry.
Yeah, because they wouldn't do it any differently.
No, they would do the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
And if the opportunity comes up again, they'll probably do it again.
Yeah.
Because they're not sorry. And they don't think what they did was wrong.
Oh.
So then that becomes a thing of sometimes you can forgive someone and not move past it.
Or forgive someone as a person, but not forgive an instance that happened or a thing they did to you.
And then sometimes you can move past something, but not forgive them.
Yeah.
And that's a whole thing. Let's go into our
Advice?
Myers-Briggs.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
Advice. We'll do the Myers-Briggs really briefly. So we are actually very similar. I am an ENFJ, which is the protagonist.
And I am an INFJ, which is the advocate. So
That's so you.
Well, I think it's very interesting that this is the only one that we're kind of similar on.
The only thing we're different. So the ENFJ stands for like different things. So E and I, so I'm E, she's I, are extroverted and introverted. So Skylar is the introverted version of this, and I'm the extroverted version.
Yeah.
And then the other things are intuitive or observant, and we both got intuitive. Thinking or feeling, and we both got feeling.
Makes sense.
Judging or prospecting, and we both got judging.
Makes sense.
And then assertive or turbulent. That's the ENFJ dash either T or A, and we both got turbulent.
Interesting.
So I think that is interesting that we are literally out of the 5 letters, 4 of them are the same.
Yeah.
It's just I'm extroverted, you're introverted.
So do you want to just read the people that we're similar to?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fun.
So who are your first 2? Let's not go in order of like, because I can definitely pull ones that I like more than others.
Just the first 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey. Hell yeah.
Like, who doesn't want to be them?
Hell yeah.
Mine are Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela.
Oh, those are also both great. John Cusack and Ben Affleck.
Ooh.
I don't know anything about either of those 2.
But they're both performers.
Yeah, they're
which
both
is interesting.
performers.
So is Oprah.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa and Marie Kondo.
Oh, Marie Kondo. That is so you.
I think that's so funny. Okay, do you want to read 2 more?
Malala and Sean Connery.
Malala.
I am Malala.
A saint.
But you're a
hero.
literal saint.
I mean, I'm also Lady Gaga and Nicole Kidman. So, like, Lady Gaga, Mother Teresa.
I'm just going to scroll
INFJs.
through and read a few more that I thought were interesting.
Okay, I'll do
I'm
the same.
also Daenerys Targaryen, or whatever. How do you say that?
You got it right.
Okay, cool. I've never watched Game of Thrones.
I'm Jon Snow.
And Maya Angelou and Jennifer Lawrence.
I am Morgan Freeman.
That is the trump card of all trump cards. You have the best type if you are Morgan Freeman.
I'm also Rose from the Titanic.
She's like the worst.
I love her.
You liked Rose? She had like no personality other than like being turbulent.
Wow.
That's my hot take.
Hot take.
Wait, you actually liked Rose
You don't
from
like the
Titanic?
protagonist in Titanic? I mean, I definitely
I think Jack is the protagonist, and that's why I like Jack.
I mean, I like Jack better than Rose.
Yeah.
But, like, she's still the protagonist.
Rose is like, I'm so rich and I have like so many problems. You also could have fit on this plank, but like, go ahead and die.
Oh.
Like, they both could have fit.
I mean, I agree.
She didn't even try. She was just like, okay, bye. Like, I'm gonna live. See you later.
Wow.
I've finished my White Claw. Can you tell?
Just drag Rose.
Every single podcast now that I haven't not drank
Yeah.
on the podcast in a while. since like the beginning, I feel like I get progressively more like gutsy with the things that I say.
But I think it helps the podcast energy. Because I think
for the people who make it to the end.
We've talked about this before. I feel like I thrive when I'm not drinking, but everyone around me is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I can go into like tipsy mode when I'm not tipsy.
Yeah.
Like I can like say funny things and like get there and have a good time. But I think when I'm actually drinking, I'm really nervous that I'm like the most drunk. So I'm constantly like trying to not be funny and like not push boundaries.
In the podcast where we did dream casting, one of the comments was like, I know that Skylar's pregnant and she's not drinking, but like this podcast has like big drunk energy. And it so did because we were being silly.
Yeah.
You know what I want to do?
What?
Okay, let's make up like a code word, and anyone who's still listening or watching it now should comment it or DM it to us, because I want to know who's still watching at like the hour and 26 minute mark ish. I think it's like hour and 19 minutes.
How about purple banana?
Okay. Comment and then like the purple heart emoji and then the banana emoji.
Yes.
No. Do the eye emoji. The eye emoji and then the purple heart emoji and then the banana emoji.
Yeah.
And if you don't have emojis, just say, I heart purple bananas.
Love that.
And I want to see, I'm going to go through and personally heart every comment that says that.
Wow.
I'm committing to it.
I love it.
Although I probably won't, because I also say I'm going to link things in the description. Let's do advice.
Hi, Sierra. Hi, Skylar.
Hi.
My name is Sonia, and I'm going into high school in a couple of weeks, and I am so terrified and just so terrified. And I just was wondering if you guys had any advice for me. I'm so scared of what people are going to think of me and making the right impression. So thank you guys. I love you so much. Bye.
Oh, I love you. You are so sweet.
So sweet.
Well,
my little sister started high school as we're filming this today. And so I feel like I'm just going to say the same thing I said to her.
go.
Which is, like, it's so cliche, but literally just be yourself. And also don't be so stuck on who your friends were in middle school or who you think you should be. I think that I, like, held on to a lot of friends for a long time when, like, I should have just really been seeing, like, who is in my classes and who I have the best time with and, like, not worrying about, like, who I sat with at lunch and, like, fitting in and kind of like making myself a theater person or like making myself like a cool person or this type of person. I think just like genuinely being friends with the people that make you the happiest. And if that's like 10 different groups of people, that's great.
Yeah.
Like the more the merrier, you know? But I think not like nailing yourself down to like, this has been my group of friends and I'm going to stay friends with them like for all of high school.
Yeah.
And also like trying new things, like join the drama club, join the rap club, like, I don't know, try out for, like, dance instead of regular PE. Like, do things that you wouldn't normally have done because high school is such a fun time to, like, start new activities.
Yeah. I think that's all really, really good advice and really important. I have 3 kind of practical pieces of advice. So first would be movies make high school into like the biggest deal, right? Every movie is about like high school, everything changes. The reality of it is high school isn't that different.
Yeah.
Like,
and also in movies and TV shows, high schoolers are played by people in like their late 20s.
Yeah.
High schoolers just look like middle schoolers who are a couple years older.
you're not going to look like Sarah Paxton in Sleepover when you're a freshman. You're not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So high school isn't as big of a deal as they make it in movies where everything changes. Everything changes just like it would any other school year. Just like when you went from 7th to 8th grade. Just like when you went from 6th to 7th grade. Like, it's going to be different because it's a new school year and people change, but not because it's high school. I remember I hyped up my first day of high school so much. Yeah. Like, I remember listening to 15 by Taylor Swift, like, on repeat, like, so scared, so nervous, like, everything's going to change. When you get to school, you're probably going to hang out with the same people for the most part at the beginning, but that's 4 years. Things are going to change.
And also, you're not that old.
No.
Like, I think a lot of times people go into high school and they're like, oh, I've been playing soccer my whole life, so, like, I can't start playing volleyball. Like, people who are volleyball people are already volleyball people. That's not true. Like,
you can try new things now. Now's the time.
Yeah. And also, like, I only know one couple, maybe 2, that were like high school sweethearts and like now have like a successful relationship. So like don't be so set on, like, this is my forever, and if this ends, like, I'm never gonna find anyone else. Because, like, I think it's a wonderful, amazing thing to be high school sweethearts. And, like, Carly and Kenzie both, like, are with their high school sweethearts, and they're so happy. But I think, like, I probably dated, like, 20 boys in high school. And, like, there were a lot of boys after high school, too, you know? And I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think that's something that can be, like, easy to forget going in.
Totally.
My second piece of practical advice is really push yourself out of your comfort zone and talk to people in your classes in your first week, especially, like, the first few days. Because obviously that's super hard to do and so much easier to say. But after that first week, everyone kind of has their, like, group of friends in each class, which isn't always going to be the same people that you hang out with, like, outside of school and at lunch.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember having, like, the girls I would hang out with in PE, and, like, the girl that I always wanted to sit next to in math, and, like, the guy I always wanted to sit next to in geography.
Yeah.
And, like, they weren't necessarily my outside of class friends, but, like, they're your class friends. And once those connections are kind of, like, forged in that first week, then if you don't do that, because I also have not done that before, you try to kind of push yourself out, and then you feel like you're on the outs, and then you feel like it's different.
Yeah.
Push yourself out of that comfort zone in that first week, and, like, talk to the people around you, and, like, get to know them. And even if you have to make up something dumb to, like, break the ice, be like, oh, hey, what'd you put for that question? Oh, hey, I have that pencil. Like, just whatever things you can do to start a conversation.
And I think that's applicable at any age. I think that's applicable for, like, starting a new job, or, like, if you're in college.
College especially, because you don't know anyone in any of your classes usually. And same thing. There were some classes my freshman year of college that I didn't do that, and I was just alone every class. And then some classes where, like, the first day I just talked to the people around me. We'd sit together, we'd study together, and then we became friends.
Totally. What's your third piece of advice?
My third piece of advice is acting indifferent or too cool isn't going to be the way to make actual friendships. And it can be easy to put those walls up because, like we talked about with my Enneagram type, if you put yourself on the outs, then no one can make you feel like you're on the outs. But if you do that to yourself, you're never going to give yourself the chance to, like, meet people. And so, like, when you put those walls up, you protect yourself from not getting ousted, but you oust yourself, and you take away that chance to make genuine connections. So being cool, being, like, too cool or indifferent or aloof, it's not going to make real friendships. So it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to, you know, be sensitive.
Yeah.
And those things are how you make real connections.
Well, and in that same note of, like, saying yes to things and, like, being accepting of friends, also acknowledge, like, who you are as a person hasn't fundamentally changed since you joined high school. Like, I tried to go to maybe 5 high school or football games for the entire time I was in high school. Didn't have a good time at a single one.
And I loved every football game I ever went to, every basketball game, every volleyball game, because that is who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that is who I am as a person. And if you didn't like going to basketball games when you were in 7th grade, you're not going to like it now.
Yeah, totally. And if you love, like, being outgoing and, like, then, like, paint your face and wear your school colors and go out and do it, but don't think, like, all of a sudden you're going to be super extroverted, or all of a sudden you're going to be, like, I don't know.
The whole idea of, like, we're in high school, it's different now.
No.
Nope, it's not. You're the same. You can change yourself if you want to.
The only difference is, like, some guys will have mustaches and be taller than you.
That terrified me. I remember walking in my freshman year and being like, oh my gosh, is that guy a teacher or a senior? 'Cause, like, he has a mustache. Also, if senior boys like you, that's not, like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. I remember a senior boy had a crush on me, and back then I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's so cool. Like, he has a crush on me, and I look back on it now, I'm like, I was 14 and he was 18. That's weird.
Yeah. Agree.
But now, like, Steven's 3 years older than me, but that's different because we're, like, there's a big difference between being, like, 23 and 26.
And, like, 14 and 18.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
This is a long podcast.
I know.
Hi,
But it's
ladies. My name is Amelia, and
Amelia.
I was kind of wanting your advice or to know if you had any words of wisdom or experience with
Hopefully.
making sure that as an adult over the age of 21 especially, for those of us that like to drink, I feel like it's become a kind of socially accepted thing to drink more than I feel like it was in the past, more often and more each day or whatever it is for each person. But I wonder if you had any advice to make sure that you don't let it get out of hand or use it for stress relief or
If you guys have any advice or experience, I just want to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
I think for me, like, the biggest thing is intentionally drinking. Being like, okay, I'm going to go to brunch and have a mimosa instead of just, like, getting one because I'm there. I think I've noticed, especially since I'm pregnant, especially a lot of, like, family members will constantly, like, they'll have ideas for things that we can do together, but all of them involve drinking, so then they'll be left with, like, nothing to do. It's like, oh, let's go to a winery. Can't do that. Let's go to a brewery. Oh, can't do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. And everything is centered around drinking, which is, like, fun and fine to do, like, once a week or a weekend, like on the weekends or whatever. But it's hard when every single activity of the day, like after 5 o'clock or whenever you get off work, is like, it's drinking time.
Yeah.
I think setting down and, like, realizing why you want to drink. Like, do I want to drink because it's going to make me, like, more relaxed and not think about work and de-stress? Or am I drinking because other people think I'm fun when I'm drinking and, like, they might not like who I truly am?
Yeah.
You know? What do you think?
I think from, like, more, like, the psychological side, like, finding ways to unwind that aren't about alcohol.
Yes.
Because once you start using that, like, when, like, maybe a year or two ago, my routine was, like, after I'm done working, I have a beer and I sit on the couch. And that's fine, but that wasn't maybe the healthiest thing for me because then I'm like, I need a beer to unwind. Yes. When the reality of it is, I can sit on the couch and drink a hot tea and still unwind. So I think finding ways that aren't alcohol-based that help you unwind. And then the second thing, which we've talked about before, is sometimes it can feel like you have to drink when you're in social situations. Yeah. So I think alternate between, because you feel like you have to have a drink in your hand. Yeah. Or else, like, you're not part of that culture. So have a cranberry juice. Yeah. Have a water.
Even, like, being pregnant, when I go out, I never get water. Like, I'll get water on the side, but I think to feel more included, I always make sure I get, like, a Shirley Temple or a pink lemonade or, like, a virgin margarita. Because I do think a lot of it is, like, the social, like, fun element of it and not, like, the getting drunk element of it. Yeah. And so I think it's totally all right to not be pregnant and be like, I want a Shirley Temple, and just, like, have that be your, like, kind of fun thing.
And I think also set those boundaries with your group of friends or your family or whoever you drink with. Yeah. Because I think when you're a little more hesitant, like, oh, no thanks, not right now, I don't want one, people are like, come on, drink up, we're getting you a beer. But I think there are those people in my life who I know, like, don't always want to drink or don't want to drink. And I don't need to, like, pressure them. Totally. I mean, you never need to pressure anyone. But the first thing I offer them isn't like my brother isn't a big drinker. Yeah. So, like, when Jordan comes over, the first thing I say isn't like, can I get you a beer? I'm like, can I get you a glass of water? Whereas, like, when
like even when Kyle comes over, he does de-stress a lot when he has a beer. Yeah. So, like, even, like, before the podcast that we were filming with them, he was, like, just drinking water because I know that he didn't want to impose by asking you guys for a beer. Yeah. But I was like, hey, Kyle, you should go get yourself a beer. Sierra and Stephen would be fine with it. Yeah. And, like, I think it's, like, knowing yourself and also knowing the other people of, like, me telling him that wasn't because I think he's more fun when he has a beer and he should feel obligated. But, like, I know it will help you get into that headspace because you had a hard day at work and, like, you want to have fun with friends.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, next question.
Hi, Sierra and Skylar. My name's Callan. Been such a big fan of your podcast. Look forward to it every single Monday. I was curious if you had any words of wisdom in growing in confidence about not wearing makeup on a daily basis. I've had problematic skin since middle school. I'm 22 now and still just struggle with being okay with having blemishes and feeling beautiful when I'm walking around outside without having to cover up my face. So thank you guys so much. Love you.
Love you.
So I'll let you speak on this one because I do wear makeup every day. So
yeah, I mean, I went through a phase. It was actually right after I had done a show when I was 19. I had done Little Shop of Horrors, and so every night for like 3 weeks during tech and during the show, I had a full face of makeup, eyelashes, everything. And my skin was breaking out a little bit more at the time. And then when the show ended, I kept wearing fake eyelashes and deep foundation and, you know, lip liner and doing everything, even though the show had ended, because I had gotten uncomfortable with looking at myself without that. And not even just looking at myself, like being in social situations without that.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I decided not to wear makeup for a month because I needed to like I needed to give my skin time to breathe because my skin was being suffocated. And B, I needed to learn and kind of force myself to be okay with the way that I looked without makeup. And it wasn't easy. And like the first few days and weeks, I would be like, oh, don't take a picture of me like this. Or, oh, don't, you know, I don't want to be like, I don't want to do this or I don't want to go there. But once I got past that point and I started recognizing myself as still me without makeup, I think that was a big change. And still like looking at in the mirror and being like, no, that's also Sierra without makeup. Because I had gotten so used to only being myself when I was wearing makeup.
Yeah.
I think that helped me a lot. And so for me I haven't gotten to that place since where I feel like I have to wear makeup.
Yeah.
I take no makeup days all the time. And they're not just days where I'm doing nothing. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing is that our first inclination is being like, if I'm not wearing makeup, that means I don't get dressed and I don't like go out.
Yeah.
And so taking days where you do put on a cute outfit that makes you feel good and you do go on a date and you do hang out with your friends, but just not wearing makeup instead of just like, oh, today's a lazy day, so I'm not going to wear makeup. Yeah. I think that was a big thing. And that's something that's really helped me of being like, oh no, I am filming today or I am vlogging or I am going to, you know, go on a date with Steven, and I'm going to wear a cute outfit.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to do my makeup.
I was talking to my friend yesterday, and I feel like, I mean, that's a bigger conversation, but we were talking about Botox and, like, our thoughts on it, and I was saying it is so crazy and, like, a little bit sad to me that as women, we have to do so many things already. Like, we already feel obligated to, like, or at least I do. I'll just speak from my experience. Like, I feel obligated to, like, wear makeup and, like, do my hair and also, like, get my hair dyed once or twice a year and, like, for a long time wear extensions and, like, always make sure that I'm, like, wearing a bra and, like, have a cute outfit and I'm showered and, like, have a handbag and all these things.
Wear perfume and
like there's so and shave and like there's so many layers. And then also now in the age of like Botox and lip fillers and all these things, like I feel like we also feel a little bit of pressure to like manipulate our face. Like not only wear makeup and cover it up and do eyelash extensions and all the things, but also to like change like the wrinkles on your face or the size of your lips or whatever. And it just is, it's crazy to me because I am someone who I wear makeup every day. Like even if I'm just at home, like I think it's partially like a confidence thing, but I think mostly it's like a meditative thing of I really like taking that time for myself in the morning. Like I'll listen to a podcast or I'll listen to like my meditation app and like do my makeup, like drink some tea, drink some orange juice and like take that time for myself. But I think it is kind of the question of why are you wearing makeup and like can you fix that thing? Like sometimes you just want to wear makeup because it's like a date night and you want to wear like a fun red lip with your fun red dress and like feel like you're taking the time to pamper yourself. But if it's like I have to get up for work at 5 a.m. and if I do my makeup I have to get up at 4:30 and I'm so tired, why do you have to wake up at 4:30? Is it because you don't want your coworkers to see you with your bare face because you're embarrassed of it?
Yeah.
Then maybe work on that, you know?
And I think that's kind of my position on like surgery and injections and like modifications as well. Kind of the same as makeup is like who are you doing it for and why? Yeah. Like, and that's another reason I think you should never tell someone that they should wear makeup or that they should get any procedure done because they shouldn't do it for anyone but themselves. Yeah. Like you get a lot of pleasure out of wearing makeup and you do it not for other people but for you. Yeah. I don't really like wearing makeup. Yeah. And so like when I do it, it's because I want to. Yeah. And like I can't tell you how many comments I get saying like you should get lip injections because I have small lips, but that is literally never something that once I have thought to myself, I would feel a lot happier if I had lip injections or if I did lip liner so I looked like I had bigger lips. That doesn't make me happier. Yeah. That's not for me. Totally. And so I think with cosmetic procedures, which wasn't the question, but in addition to with makeup, think about why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? And also what happens if you don't?
Yeah. Well, I think both of our stances on like makeup and cosmetic procedures is the same as like, you shouldn't judge people for doing what they need to do in their self-confidence journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone is just never going to be able to love their nose, and, like, that is a sticking point for them, and every time they look in the mirror, they hate their nose, and they have for the last 25 years, I think if it empowers them to change it, and it benefits their life, and they genuinely cannot get there, then all the power to them. It's their money. They're an adult. For me, I think that's fine. I don't think I would ever change my face because I think I, for myself, need to just get to a point where I love myself enough.
I feel the same way.
Like, I think for myself, like, I've talked a lot about, like, after I have the baby or before I was pregnant, like, getting a breast reduction. But that's because of, like, actual back issues and health issues. Whereas, like, I don't think I would ever get a boob job because for me, if I had an issue with, like, the aesthetics of my boobs, I would just need to get over that for myself.
Yeah.
But
I think
really just great. Like, don't judge.
And figure out why you feel like you need to wear makeup.
Yeah.
Is it because you like it? Or is it because you're afraid of your coworkers, your friends, or your family, or your partner to see you?
Yeah.
So I think that's important too. All right.
What a great podcast. Woo. Give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes. Subscribe if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Play or YouTube. You know what? If you want, you could subscribe on all platforms. And then you'll never miss it.
Woo!
Just saying. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, give us a rating of 5 stars if you liked it. And if you write us a review, that would be really nice too.
Yeah, that really helps.
It helps a lot.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We love you. Bye.
Bye.